My parents told me I wouldn't belong at this wedding's tea ceremony. Then they checked into the grand suite, proudly bragging it was the most exclusive room. But from the top floor of the $300 million resort, I made one call: cancel the bridal suite. They weren't authorized to use it. Minutes later, chaos broke out in the lobby, and my phone lit up with 38 missed calls. Have you ever been told you don't belong, that you're not good enough, by the very people who are supposed to love you most? What if that injustice was thrown in your face, only for you to realize you held all the cards, and they were about to walk right into your world, completely unaware? Trust me, the satisfaction is unforgettable. I remember it like it was yesterday. The quiet hum of the air conditioning in my Denver office, the city stretching out beyond the glass walls. Late afternoon sunlight spilled across my polished desk, catching the edges of contracts for Alpine Haven's summer expansion. I was lost in the rhythm of signing, a mundane task for the CEO of a luxury resort chain, when my phone lit up. Mom. My heart did a familiar, unwelcome little clench. It had been weeks, and every call felt like walking on thin ice. Her voice, when I finally answered, was soft, careful, the way someone speaks right before they drop a stone into still water. "Claire," she began, "I wanted to tell you about Ethan's wedding." I froze, my pen hovering over a signature. "Oh, it'll be small, just family, very intimate. You understand, right?" A pause stretched, thick with unspoken meaning. I set the pen down, watching the sunlight dance on my desk. "Of course," I said, my voice quiet. "I understand." A small sigh of relief from her. "You've got so much going on with the company anyway, and honestly, it's just a different kind of atmosphere. I'm not sure you'd feel comfortable there." Different kind of atmosphere? I almost laughed, a hollow sound. "Right," I murmured. She kept talking, filling the silence, like she always did when she was nervous. "It's at a beautiful place, dear. Ethan and Sophie wanted something elegant but private. You'd love it, I think." I knew exactly where this was going. I always did. "Anyway, we'll send photos. You'll see how beautiful it turns out." "Sure," I said, a bitter taste in my mouth. "I'm happy for them." "Good," she said, her tones suddenly bright with finality. "I knew you'd understand." The call ended. The click of disconnection echoed in the sudden quiet, heavy and insulting. Family. The word she'd used, small, selective, like a club. A club I was never invited to join. I sat there for a long moment, the silence pressing in. Then, almost on autopilot, I turned back to my laptop. A hospitality newsletter blinked across the screen, tracking industry events. And there it was, a headline that stopped my breath. Ethan Morgan and Sophie Bennett to wed at the renowned Alpine Haven Resort. I just stared at the words. My fingers hovered. A low, humorless laugh slipped out. "Of course," I whispered. The irony was a punch to the gut, but also poetic. The same family who constantly told me I didn't fit in, who overlooked me, who thought I'd never amount to anything, had chosen my resort. Every marble tile, every gleaming chandelier, every mountain view suite. They were walking into my creation without a single clue. I clicked open the company dashboard. Reservations. Guests. There it was. Morgan wedding party check-ins scheduled for Friday. The system had even flagged the booking as very important person. I leaned my head back, my eyes tracing the ceiling. "Sometimes," I said under my breath, "they invite the whole world except the person who built the stage." It wasn't bitter. It was just a fact, delivered with a calm I'd perfected over years. My phone buzzed again. Harper, my assistant. I answered. "Hey boss, you asked me to confirm this week's guest list." "Yeah," I said, still staring out at the darkening city. "Anything interesting?" A brief pause, papers rustling. "Let's see. Corporate retreat, wedding party from Texas, and..." She hesitated. "A family named Morgan, booking for the grand suite. I'm guessing you know them?" I let out a quiet breath that might have been a laugh. "Yeah," I said softly, "I know them." Harper's voice dropped, cautious. "Do you want me to flag the reservation?" "No," I said, leaning forward, my elbows on the desk. "Keep it as is." Let's make sure everything goes smoothly. When the call ended, I sat there, the corners of my mouth curving slightly, not into a smile, but into something colder, steadier. They hadn't invited me. That was fine, because soon they would walk into my world, under my roof, on my terms. The office lights dimmed automatically as evening deepened. I closed my laptop, stood, and walked toward the window. Denver glittered like a map of constellations. I touched the glass lightly and whispered to no one, "You built a world without me. Let's see how it feels when you have to live in mine." And with that, I turned off the lights, leaving only the city's glow behind me. The next morning, my phone vibrated. Morgan wedding weekend officially begins. The first image, Ethan and Sophie under an archway of white orchids, mountains blurred behind them. Sophie's caption, "Sweet and sugary. The perfect start to forever." Linda's comment, "So proud of our son." Dad had added a heart. No mention of me. My stomach clenched. They were so good at posing, a practice performance of family unity. They'd gotten good at posing without me. Harper slid into my office, tablet in hand. "Morning," she said, carefully gauging my mood. I ran through the event list. "There's something you might want to see." She handed me the tablet. The Alpine Haven booking interface glowed. Guest name, Morgan wedding party, reserved for 4 nights, grand bridal suite, special rate code applied. Harper lowered her voice. They used a corporate discount under Alpine Haven's internal partner program. My eyes narrowed. Who authorized it? She swiped to the contract page. "Linda Morgan," she read aloud. "Signed as authorized by family." I stared at the screen. Family has a lot of definitions in my world. I finally said, "Do you want me to fix it? I can flag it to accounting." I shook my head. "Not yet. Let them have their perfect weekend." I walked over to the wall of framed photos, portraits of our resorts. Each one represented sleepless nights, calculated risks. I paused at Alpine Haven's opening, 8 years ago. I was at the edge of the crowd, smiling for the camera, anonymous. Even then, they'd never shown up. My mother's voice echoed in my head, "Different atmosphere, dear. You wouldn't fit in." The irony almost made me laugh. My inbox pinged. Invoice confirmation, Morgan wedding. I opened it. $48,000 charged to Alpine Haven corporate account. $48,000. My funds. Used by the same people who decided I wasn't family enough to attend. A small, humorless laugh slipped out. "Perfect," I murmured. At noon, Harper poked her head in. "Confirmation of their arrival tomorrow," she said. "Anything you want the staff briefed about?" "Only this," I said. "No one mentions me to anyone." She lingered. "Are you sure you're okay with this?" I met her.
Eyes calm.
"I'm perfectly okay, Harper. They wanted a perfect weekend. Let's make sure they get it." Another post popped up on my phone. "Our dream wedding begins tomorrow at Alpine Haven." I let the screen go dark. "They've already written their story," I said to the empty room. "They just don't know who owns the ending." The next day, from my office window, the view was like a postcard. The lake shimmered, Alpine Haven's glass facade reflected the sky. I saw their black SUV pull up. Ethan first, immaculate. Sophie, styled perfection. Mom, hair sprayed into place, the same smile she wore at every charity event. Dad, surveying the resort like property he might buy. "Welcome to Alpine Haven, Mr. and Mrs. Morgan," the concierge said warmly. "We're honored to host your family." Linda laughed. "It's beautiful, just like the photos." She turned to the cameras. "Isn't this incredible, Sophie?" Sophie grinned, already live streaming. I watched them through the tinted glass, coffee in hand. Harper, beside me, recited their requests. White orchids, premium champagne, snow peak view, bridal balcony for their welcome video. "Approved everything," I said. "Everything. Give them what they think they deserve." Outside, Linda posed by the fountain, arm linked with Ethan. Sophie twirled for the camera. Their entourage followed, filming every detail. "This is going to be a dream wedding," Sophie's voice carried faintly through the security feed. Dreams have their costs, I murmured. I switched screens, flicking through camera angles. The Morgans in the elevator, laughing. Sophie adjusting her hair. Dad scrolling emails. Same performance, I muttered. A knock. Peter, operations manager, came in. VIP arrival form you requested, Miss Morgan. Harper scanned it, then froze. Claire, she said, you'll want to see this. There it was. Our corporate check-in form. Signed in confident cursive. Linda Morgan, co-owner, Alpine Haven Resorts. I stared at it, then let out a quiet laugh. Peter shifted. Should I report this to legal? No, I said, closing the folder. Not yet. That's a new level of confidence, even for my mother. Outside, Sophie filmed everything. This is perfection. Linda's voice drifted through the audio. Your father, and I should come here more often. It feels like it was made for us. I glanced at Harper. She's not wrong, I said. It was. I spent the next hour watching them create their picture-perfect moment. Mom, at the front desk, laughing with the concierge, as if her name carried actual authority. Harper, I said quietly. Send the spa team. Best welcome treatment. Champagne. Snow suite. Upgrade everything. Harper blinked. You're really giving them the full treatment. Yes, I said, walking toward the windows. Let them have it all. Every indulgence they think belongs to them. She looked uncertain. What's your end game here? I looked out at the peaks. Nothing dramatic. Just perspective. My phone buzzed. Internal notification from accounting. Another authorization form. The same forged signature. Approving imported champagne. I chuckled. She really thinks she's the owner. Harper raised an eyebrow. And you find that funny? Almost poetic, I said. They spent years pretending I wasn't part of this family. Now they've built their big moment on my name and still don't know it. Moments later, I reached for the folder again. Fake ownership, I whispered. Harper said nothing. The silence was thin and sharp as glass. Down below, the Morgans posed. Sophie blew a kiss at the camera. Linda beamed. Ethan looked up briefly, toward the top floor. For a moment, our eyes might have met through the glass. Then he turned away, smiling for someone else. I exhaled slowly. Let the show begin. The day before the wedding, Abigail Green, my investor, sat across from me. All clipped tones and black power suits. Claire, we're finalizing the sale of 30% of your shares. I can't afford distractions. No press, no family drama, no rumors about ownership. I leaned back. You have my word, Abigail. Alpine Haven doesn't do drama. Good, she said, because if I sense even a hint of scandal, I'm pulling out. I don't invest in emotion. Neither do I replied, a faint smile playing on my lips. Keep your personal life invisible. That's how you stay powerful. Trust me, I said. No one's ever accused me of being too visible. My phone buzzed. A message from Harper. Ethan's team just sent a new request. He wants the staff list updated to include him under Family of Owners. I read it twice, then laughed. Approve it, I typed back. Let him have his title. My family's always been fond of labels. Later, leaning against my car in the parking deck, another call from Harper. Mrs. Morgan wants the staff to address her as Mrs. Morgan, owner of Alpine Haven. A slow smile spread across my face. Of course she does. Don't correct her. Let her have it. Let them all have it. It's a little strange, Harper said. Nothing strange about it, I replied. They've been pretending long before today. Just keep treating her exactly how she wants to be treated. Then, an email from resort management. Mrs. Morgan requests a personal welcome from the resort owner upon arrival. I laughed softly, shaking my head. You'll get your welcome, Mom. Just not the one you're expecting. The irony was so sharp, it almost felt like humor. My mother, asking to be greeted by the owner of a resort she thought she owned. My brother, demanding a title he didn't earn. And me, the invisible daughter, orchestrating every move from behind the curtain. As I drove out, the light hit the windshield, washing everything in gold. In their world, power was measured by cameras and attention. In mine, it was built quietly, brick by brick, until one day, it stood so tall they had no choice but to walk through its doors. That night, the lobby glowed. The wedding eve. I stood near the bar, half in shadow, watching them. Mom walked arm in arm with Dad, her smile radiant. "Every detail is perfect," she told a florist. "Exactly the way I imagined. It's just so us." The Morgan touch. At the reception desk, a staff member greeted her. "Mrs. Morgan, the CEO wanted me to extend her gratitude for your presence." Linda blinked, then smiled. "Oh, how sweet. Claire must have put her up to that." The staff looked confused. "Claire, she works here, doesn't she? In management or something?" I saw Harper stiffen. I gave the smallest shake of my head. Linda waved a hand. "It's fine. She's always been so diligent. I'm glad she found a place that appreciates that." Harper slid into the seat beside me. "They're enjoying themselves," I said. Mom was leading Sophie on a tour, pointing out decor. "Tasteful," she told Sophie. "Classic, not overdone. It feels like a real Morgan wedding." Sophie nodded. "Everyone's going to talk about it. This is what perfection looks like." I could almost taste my mother's satisfaction. Harper's voice was soft. "You sure you want to be here right now?" "I'm exactly where I need to be." Then I heard it. My mother's voice, carrying clearly through the room. "Thank God Claire isn't here. She has this energy. It would have thrown the balance off." Sophie nodded, whispering. "Exactly," Mom said. "This is the right mix of people. The right image." Harper's jaw tightened.
She
doesn't even know you're standing right here." "She never did," I said quietly. I looked at my phone. The family group chat was open. Mom's latest message. "So glad Claire isn't coming. It's for the best. She'd only make things uncomfortable." A thumbs up from Ethan. A heart from Sophie. I stared at the words. Harper saw it. "Claire, I'm fine," I said automatically, setting the phone down. But I wasn't angry. Not exactly. Anger was a luxury they thrived on. No, what I felt was something sharper, cleaner. A cold clarity. "They still think," I said quietly, "that I need an invitation to show up." Harper nodded, understanding. I finished my wine. Let her have her stage. Tomorrow she'll realize who built it. The morning of the wedding, the air was cool, scented with pine. From my 12th floor office, I could hear faint violin notes. Harper burst in, face tight. "Claire, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" They used the Alpine Haven corporate card again. Champagne upgrade, additional florals, decor rentals, a live string quartet. All charged this morning. I scrolled the digital log. Linda Morgan's signature blinked at the bottom of each invoice. "They're consistent, at least." "Claire," Harper said, "that's your company's money. This is fraud." I leaned back. "They used company assets," I said slowly, "and signed my name through hers." "Exactly. So, what do you want me to do?" I closed my eyes for a second, listening to the hum of the resort. "Cancelled the bridal suite," I said, opening my eyes. "Cancelled the suite, effective immediately. List the reason as unauthorized booking under a fraudulent signature." Harper's face paled. "That's the main room for ceremony prep. Sophie's been live streaming from there all morning." "Are you sure?" "Yes." My voice was even. "It's time they learned what boundaries look like." She hesitated, then nodded and left. I sat in the silence. This wasn't revenge. It was accountability. When the email confirmation pinged on my screen, I exhaled. Revoked. I switched to the lobby feed. Ethan and Sophie appeared at the front desk, wedding planners hovering. Ethan was pacing. Sophie, in her silk robe, makeup half done, leaned over the counter. The concierge smiled nervously. "I'm so sorry, ma'am, but it appears your suite has been deactivated. There's a flag from corporate. We're not authorized to check you in." Sophie blinked. "What does that mean?" "We're the bridal couple. It's our room." Ethan leaned forward. "This is ridiculous." My mother handled the booking. Yes, sir, the concierge said. That's part of the issue. The silence was thick. Then, Mom's voice, sharp and commanding. Excuse me. I'm Linda Morgan. My husband and I are the owners of this property. You will fix this immediately. The concierge swallowed. Of course, Mrs. Morgan, but according to our records, ownership is listed differently. Ethan's voice rose. Do you know who we are? The concierge straightened his tie. Yes, sir. And that's exactly why we have to follow procedure. Sophie's face flushed. This can't be happening. My followers are expecting the bridal suite reveal. You people are ruining my wedding. The lobby filled with murmurs. The string quartet trailed off. Even the camera crew hesitated. Mam's voice dropped to a furious hiss. Call the manager now. They already did. I murmured to myself. Harper appeared, speaking quietly with the concierge, then stepped forward. Mrs. Morgan, the decision came from corporate headquarters in Denver. I'm afraid the booking violated policy. Mom stared at her. Policy? I am the policy here. Harper stayed composed. I'm sorry, ma'am. The authorization has been revoked by executive order. For a heartbeat, the lobby froze. Ethan slammed his hand down. This is insane. I'll have your job for this. Sophie started crying, a loud, dramatic sob. A bridesmaid whispered into her phone, recording. I turned off the sound, a faint smile on my face. The intercom buzzed. Harper's voice, shaky. It's done. They know. Good, I said. Let the staff keep things calm. No further engagement. Do you want me to unlock the suite later? No, I said. They'll stay exactly where they are. Let them experience imperfection for once. I ended the call and glanced at the muted feed. Mom in the middle of the lobby, pulling herself together, whispering furiously. Ethan pacing. Sophie shouting. From a distance, it looked absurd. But beneath it, I recognized something I hadn't seen in them for years. Uncertainty. That moment when control slips through your fingers and you don't know how to get it back. I picked up my phone. Harper's message. Lobby contained. Guests unsettled but calm. Morgan's demanding to speak to ownership. I typed back. Ownership is busy. Then I stood and walked to the window. The lake sparkled. I could faintly hear the string quartet starting up again, filling the void. For the first time that day, I let myself smile. Quiet, steady, certain. They wanted a perfect wedding, I said softly. Now they'll learn what perfection costs. By noon, the lobby was pure chaos. Sophie, face streaked with tears, shouted, This is ridiculous. Do you even know who we are? Ethan was on the phone, trying to fix it. Mom slammed her palm against the counter. I will sue you. This is defamation. Humiliation. You can't treat us like this. The concierge, remarkably, didn't flinch. I'm very sorry, ma'am, but the system has flagged the booking as invalid. It's out of my hands. Out of your hands? Mom repeated. We're the owners. Emily Rodas, a journalist, had just arrived. Her camera was already rolling. Who canceled my suite? I demand to know. Sophie cried. The concierge hesitated. According to the system, the order came directly from corporate management. What does that even mean? She snapped. It means, he said, the decision came from the Denver headquarters. From the top. Ethan turned to Mom. Did you do this? Mom's jaw tightened. Of course not. Why would I cancel my own son's wedding? Then who the hell did? Mom straightened. Call Claire, she said. She works for this place. She'll know who to talk to. Sophie gasped. Wait, what if she's the reason this happened? Maybe she's jealous. Ethan shot her a look, but Sophie was already speaking to the camera crew. We've been treated so unfairly. They're sabotaging our wedding. Emily adjusted her lens. Upstairs, my phone lit up. Ethan Morgan calling. I just watched it buzz. Are you going to answer? Harper asked. I lifted the phone, then set it back down. Face up. The vibration stopped. Mom's voice rose again. Of course, she's not picking up. She's probably too busy doing God knows what. Sophie whispered. I knew it. She's probably behind this. Emily filmed every second.
Harper, I said.
They're losing it. The journalists are filming, guests are recording, social media is going to explode. I took a slow sip of coffee. It will, I said. That's the beauty of it. Mom turned back to the concierge, voice trembling. You don't understand. We are Alpine Haven. My husband is Robert Morgan. That name means something here. The concierge looked genuinely sympathetic. I understand, ma'am, but according to the records, ownership belongs to Alpine Haven Holdings, registered in Denver under CEO Claire Morgan. The entire lobby seemed to inhale at once. Mom froze. What did you just say? The concierge hesitated, realizing too late what he'd revealed. Ethan's face drained. That can't be right. Sophie's voice broke. So she's the one. Mom turned away sharply. No, that's not possible.
But it was.
Harper looked at me, eyes wide. Do you want me to intervene? We could still. I shook my head. No, leave it. Claire, your mother's about to. She's about to learn, I said softly. Mom gripped the counter, her composure cracking. Dad appeared, face tight with embarrassment. Linda, let's step outside. She jerked away. Sophie sobbed. Ethan stood rigid. Guests whispered. Phones lifted. I picked up my phone again. Another call. Ethan's name flashing. I watched it ring, then flipped it over, silencing it. The room around me was still. Sometimes silence costs more than words ever could. I whispered. I turned to the window. My family fought to control the narrative. They still hadn't realized the story was already over, and I didn't have to say a single word to end it. 3 hours later, the world knew everything. Morgan wedding disaster trended. Emily Rotus's video was everywhere. The clip of Mom's furious, "We own this place," followed by the concierge's polite, "Actually, ma'am, that's not accurate," looped endlessly. My mother's stunned expression was a meme. Abigail Green called. You told me there wouldn't be a scandal.
There isn't, I said.
Claire, your family's on every major outlet. Yes, my family, I said evenly. Not the company. Not me. If this affects valuation, if it touches our investors, Abigail, I interrupted, if you think this changes anything about Alpine Haven's worth, maybe you should reconsider why you invested in the first place. A pause. You're playing with fire. Maybe, I said. But at least I built the fireplace. The line went dead. Harper turned from the window. PR is asking how to respond. Reporters are calling. They're already telling the truth, I said. It just took a camera for anyone to believe it. She nodded. Someone leaked that the CEO's name matches your mother's maiden name. People are speculating. They'll keep guessing, I said. And when they realize, they'll stop laughing. Ethan's email landed. Claire, if you have anything to do with this, please stop. Mom hasn't eaten since this morning. She's in shock. You've made your point. Please just fix it. I read it twice. Then I deleted it. They only remember you, I said quietly. When you become the story, they can't control. The resort manager sent an update. The Morgans have checked out. They left without paying the balance. Do you want to pursue it legally? I typed back. No. Let them leave owing something. That's the closest they'll ever come to balance. You're calm, Harper observed. I've been calm my whole life, I said softly. That's what they mistook for weakness. The news anchors debated Alpine Haven stock. The ticker read, CEO remained silent amid scandal. Silent. It was the first time silence had ever sounded like victory. By late afternoon, Peter, the operations manager, appeared. Miss Morgan, the Morgan family is here. They're requesting to see you. I looked at the clock. 5:43 p.m. Send them up, I said. When the elevator doors opened, the calm in my office shifted. Mom came in first, her face drawn, her practiced poise shattered. Dad followed, jaw clenched. Ethan trailed, head lowered. I didn't move. Mom stopped in front of my desk. Claire, she began, her voice uncertain. You're the CEO.
For 8 years now, I said.
She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Dad broke the silence. We just wanted the day to go smoothly. A perfect wedding for your brother. You could have told us, I said, my voice cutting through his. Told you what? That I exist? That I built something without your permission? He flinched. I laid open the folder on my desk, a copy of the wedding invoice, paid with company funds, signed by Mom. Here, I said, turning it toward them. Mom's hand trembled. I just wanted to make sure everything was handled. I didn't think it would matter whose name. It matters. I cut her off, though my tone stayed calm. It matters when you forge signatures. It matters when you spend someone else's money. It matters when you lie. Her eyes filled. Claire, please. I only wanted Ethan to have one perfect day. He's worked so hard. And I haven't? I asked softly. I built this company from nothing, Mom. Every brick, every piece of glass in this building has my name behind it. But you never thought I was the kind of person who could create something worth your attention. She shook her head. That's not true. Isn't it? I asked. You called this place beautiful before you knew who built it. But if you'd known it was mine, you wouldn't have come. The words hung there. Ethan finally stepped forward. I'm sorry, Claire. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I didn't even know you owned Alpine Haven until today. I looked at him. My little brother, the golden boy. That's the problem, Ethan, I said. You never asked. You never cared to know. You've spent your whole life believing that I was just lucky to be nearby. He swallowed hard, eyes dropping to the floor. You're right. Dad cleared his throat. We can make this right. We'll release a statement. Correct the misunderstanding. I closed the folder sharply. No, you don't fix this with a statement. You fix it by telling the truth. Dad frowned. The truth? Yes, I said. That you forged documents to use company money. That you humiliated yourselves in public because you thought pretending was safer than being honest. That you've been living off appearances so long you forgot what real looks like. Mom's lip trembled. Claire, please. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said. I've understood for years. You wanted a perfect wedding. You got your spectacle. And now everyone's seen who you really are. Mom looked up, mascara smudged. I never meant to hurt you. I know, I said. You just never meant to see me either. I pushed the folder aside. I'm not filing charges. But you should know I could. That's what forgery means, Mom. Fraud. A real court case, not a family argument. She looked horrified. You wouldn't. No, I said, because unlike you, I don't need to prove I'm better. I just need the truth to stand on its own. Her sobs filled the space. Dad led her toward the door. Ethan lingered. I really am sorry, Claire. I nodded once. I know. He hesitated, then followed them out. When the door clicked shut, the silence returned, thicker than before. Harper exhaled softly. You okay? I'm fine, I said. I just needed the truth to sit in the same room with them for once. By the next morning, the story had changed. CEO of Alpine Haven revealed, Claire Morgan. My name, my face, my story, suddenly public. They're calling you the invisible CEO, Harper said, holding up her phone. The woman who built an empire in silence. Ironic, isn't it? I said. All it took was a scandal I didn't start. Abigail Green called again. Her voice was different now, less sharp. I owe you an apology, Claire. For what? I told you I'd pull out if things went south. But I've seen the reports. You handled it elegantly. I was wrong about you. I smiled faintly. You weren't wrong. You were cautious. A pause. I won't be selling. You're good for this company. I didn't do it to keep your investment, Abigail, I said. I did it to keep myself. That's why you'll last longer than people like me, she said quietly. Harper asked later. Do you regret it? Any of it? I turned toward the window, watching the morning lights scatter across the skyline. No, I said finally. I just returned the silence they taught me. My personal phone buzzed, still ringing. 38 missed calls. Mom. Sophie. over and over again. I looked at the names, then set it face down on the desk. Everyone calls it karma, like it's supposed to burn, I said quietly. And what do you call it? Harper asked.
Peace, I said.
When you no longer need to explain yourself. A few weeks later, the air was softer. The snow had thinned. I was opening Aurora Hall, what used to be an old service wing, now rebuilt into a community space. A home for all voices. Harper was on stage, checking the mic. They're all here for you, you know. They're here for themselves, I said. That's the point. When I walked to the podium, the applause came like a wave. Aurora Hall isn't about me, I told them. It's about what happens when people are told they don't belong and decide to build anyway. I learned that real success is when you create a place where everyone feels welcome, even if no one ever claps for you. Aurora Hall is for anyone who's been turned away, overlooked, or told they weren't enough. You don't need an invitation to walk through these doors. Just belief. This, I gestured around us, is proof that the things meant to break us can become the foundation for something better. Sometimes the silence they give you isn't rejection. It's space to build your own voice. As the sun began to dip, Harper joined me by the railing. So, she said, what's next? I looked out at the horizon. More places like this. For anyone who's ever had a door closed in their face, I want them to know they can build new ones. You really think one person can change all that? No, I said. But one person can start. The laughter from the courtyard drifted up to us, light and real. I breathed in the scent of pine and snow, the tension I'd carried for years dissolving into the air. They said I wasn't invited. I murmured. They said I didn't belong, but every door they closed taught me how to build another one. The last of the sunlight slid behind a ridge. Aurora Hall gleamed like a lantern against the snow. If they say you're not invited, build the place they'll wish they never left. For the first time in a long time, I felt still. Not waiting, not proving.
Just being.
My voice came quietly, almost carried by the wind. Sometimes victory doesn't sound like applause. It sounds like the quiet after everything that needed to be said has already been heard. What about you? Have you ever had to build your own table when you weren't given a seat? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below.